right, so welcome to your yin practice. We're gonna start today's practice in supine butterfly. So you'll just make your way onto your back. And then you can bring the soles of your feet together and knees splay out to the side. Now if this is feeling like a lot for your knees or your hips, you can always take a bolster underneath the backs of your legs, kind of behind the knees, or you can take 2 pillows underneath either side. And then bring your hands either over top of your belly, or you can take your left hand to your heart and right hand to your belly. So just hands over top of your body so that you can really start to feel the movement of your breath. So in these first few breaths, you're not trying to change or fix anything. You're just simply noticing. What is the sensation beneath your hands? Maybe even what is the sensation within your body? Do you notice how free the breath is? And there's no blockages. There's no hurdles for the breath to jump over. It just moves at this trusting, steady pace. For those of you with your left hand on your heart, you might even just notice this pace of your heartbeat. Really allowing you to be in this smooth transition, the waves of your practice. And so I invite you now, anything that's been on your mind lately, anything that's just felt really heavy, maybe anything uncertain, to just sit with it here on your mat. And sometimes we come to the mat to disengage and check out, but there is a lot of power of just being an observer with what's going on in your life. So if that's a safe place for you tonight, just kind of notice your thoughts, notice what's nagging at your attention. It can be really powerful to move into your next week. Just kind of knowing where you're expending your energy and maybe any shifts you need to take. Okay. And so if that's not a safe place for you tonight, you can always just kind of leave that at the door and just allow this space to be one where you're breathing and where you just get a moment of space for yourself. And gently, you can start to lift your knees up through center. And bring your knees into your chest. Arms can wrap around and gently rock side to side. Smoothing out any wrinkles of the low back, any tightness. We'll come all the way back through center and you can release the soles of your feet down. Okay, now I sometimes like a bolster for this next pose or pillows, so you're welcome to just bring those over to the right side of your mat. Moving into a variation of twist. So you're gonna plant your hands down and then use your feet and even your palms to shift your hips over to the left side of your mat. You can extend your right leg long. Bring your left knee into your chest just for a moment. Okay, shoulders still in center. And then use your right hand to guide your knee across your body. So your left knee starts to fall all the way over to the right. Now, if this is feeling like a lot for your spine or your hips or really any joint, you can always come back through center, bend both knees and drop them over to the right. They can land onto a prop. You can always take a bolster between your legs. So there's lots and lots of options. Just make sure that your shoulder blades are rooted down and that there's no sharp or shooting sensation or intensity so much that it's hard to stay still. If it's comfortable for your cervical spine, gaze will drop over to the left. And just let your head hang heavy. So I really wanted to focus in on just some of the things that maybe have been blocking us lately. And those are going to come up here in your practice. When you're trying to settle into stillness, those are usually the roadblocks. So whatever you're spending your time on mentally, there's a big or significant event that happened, maybe just a lot of thoughts in your mind. So those are kind of your blocks to connection with yourself. And so instead of being the person being blocked, see if you can almost step outside of that image to just observe. So just observing your thoughts that come up. Observe sensations of your body. And just observe even how you feel moment to moment. Gently bring your chin back up through center. Unravel your right leg all the way back through center. And then we're coming into reclined half tree. So you'll just scoop your hips into the middle of your mat. Left knee stays bent. And then just let your left knee drop out to the side. So almost like a half butterfly as well. And hands can just land wherever's comfortable. If you want extra support underneath your bent leg, just slide a pillow or block in there. This pose is really just a counter to the opening that we found in our twist. This helps to release some of that tension, maybe that lengthening. You might even notice your body getting heavier and heavier. You just start to let go of having to hold yourself up. You simply surrender. And gently start to guide your left knee back up through center. Bend into your right knee and then roll yourself to your left. Okay, so you're gonna find fetal position over to your left. I'm just gonna switch around so that I have a better angle for you. Head will rest into your left bicep. Now, if you need your props for these next couple of poses, you'll just kind of grab them during this transition. And so we're going to make our way onto our belly. You'll want a pillow or something soft, maybe like a sweater or something for your head. And then you're welcome to use another pillow if you need for your other knee. Okay. So you're going to roll onto your belly. And then right knee will start to slide out to the side for your half or sleeping frog. Now you don't need a pillow underneath your left cheek, but I find it can be really just nice to add in that extra support and softness. Additionally, if the inside of your bent knee gets a little bit sticky, you can always grab a bolster or a pillow to just take the inside of that leg on. So this is more of a restorative pose. And so it's meant to be really gentle. Even though yin is a practice in which we are learning to sit with ourselves and carve out space, sometimes we have the tendency to push the body a little bit too far so that we're actually just really focused on trying to make it through a pose rather than just enjoying the moment. And so restorative yoga just offers you that space to relax and truly be where you are so that you get a glimpse into this version of yourself that's never ever been here before. It's this version of you this day, this night is completely different than any other version. And it's almost like when you sit with these thoughts and emotions, you get a little map to maybe your next couple of days or what's playing on the screen. And that helps when we're off the mat and something triggers us or we feel like we come up against a roadblock, that we can maybe take those lessons we learned here in the stillness and just apply them. So not looking at anything as good or bad, it just simply is what it is. Let's take about 5 to 7 more breaths. Maybe you just allow your body to rest a little bit heavier. Really let yourself sink in. And slowly just start to slide your right toes down to meet your left. So you're laying onto your belly. Then press into your hands and just peel away from your mat. You're gonna come into tabletop, and then this can just be nice for movement if you're craving movement. And then you're welcome to come into half pigeon from tabletop, or you can come into it from down dog. So I'll leave that up to you. If you're coming in from tabletop, bring your left knee forward, left toes move to the right. If you want that extra stretch, you're welcome to lift your hips up in down dog and float left toes to the sky. But whichever transition you choose, left knee will land over to the same side of the mat, so that left side, and then right toes over to the other side. You can start to just walk yourself up. You're going to feel some opening down the length of your front hip and a little bit into the side of your left. And then whenever you're ready, you can just start to fold over top of your front leg. And this is where having a bolster or pillows can be really nice, just to fold over top. Now I know that this pose isn't for everybody's knees. So if this is not your pose tonight, you can always roll to your left hip and then just bend your right knee out to the side. So the deer pose, kind of that little pinwheel shape, and it's gonna take sometimes the stress in that front knee out. You'll just fold over top of your shin. So wherever you've landed, can you actually just remove some of those roadblocks? Maybe not going quite as deep, or starting to shift awareness to the breath rather than the thoughts. Maybe just allowing thoughts to flow rather than trying to fix them or engage with them. But by stepping back, we give ourselves more space to just move freely, rather than trying to plow ahead through all these things that are blocking us. Notice if the silence ever feels deafening, because it sometimes does when our brains are a little foggy or on turbo. And sometimes it's a lot to just sit with ourselves. And so there might be moments where you need to pull back slightly and just focus on the sounds of your breath, or focus on maybe the body sensations. So when those thoughts kind of start to tumble, we refer to this in meditation as the vrittis, the whirlpools of your mind. And You can't always think your way out of this. So sometimes you just have to switch the attention and redirect to what can you feel in this moment? What do you hear? Just 5 things around you. And your breath is a really, really great place to start. And then your body as well. So for the last about minute or so on this side, if you notice you've checked out, start to just check back in and to your senses and what this experience holds right here, right now. So if you have still laid forward, you can just gently make your way up onto your hands. And you're going to shift over onto your seat. Bring your back leg around and in front, and then just extend your legs out wide. So that should feel pretty nice, especially for that front leg. You're welcome to fold with legs wide together, or you can always butterfly the legs. We're just going to take a bit of a fold to lengthen out the hamstrings and calves. So you can start to move your props closer to you if you'd like. You can drape over top of whatever is handiest. And if this feels like a lot for the hamstrings, take pillows underneath your knees so they're just a little bit bent, but you're still gonna feel some length. So fold of your choice. Just notice how your body is changing from where you just were to where you are now. Gently walk your hands up the length of your legs until your spine comes all the way upright. And you can scoop your feet out to either side and meet back into tabletop. So we've hit the halfway point of our circle. We're going to start to move back the other way. So it'll be half pigeon on our right side. So whether you want to move from tabletop or down dog, yogi's choice. But right knee will start to draw towards your right wrist. Right ankle slides over to the left side of your mat. And then just slide your left toes back. So you're welcome to stay upright as long as it feels good for your body. And then at any point throughout the pose, you can start to fold forward and just bring that opening in towards your right hip. Try to make sure that your head is supported. So that's going to let you release the scalenes and your SCM muscles, all those muscles that come up into the neck, levator. Those can all just start to relax. And it's not very often that they do get to relax. So it can just be nice to support yourself with your props. So there's definitely going to be some sensation in this shape. And so that can be one of your points to just sit with and notice how that feels. Sometimes that starts to translate into more cognitive feeling of emotion or thought. So it's okay to kind of be in these waves, but just making sure you don't feel stuck in your thoughts or where you're giving your attention. It's almost like your attention is spread thinly out the entire veil of this experience rather than directly focused on something. So just like you're drifting along and watching these moments pass by. Moving about towards the last minute of the shape. Maybe start to soften places you've been gripping. Just sometimes we hold on when we're not sure how much longer we have. So really just allowing yourself room to release. And so it really brings up that lesson of how time can be a barrier. When we're uncertain of timing, we start to get tight, we control, we shut down things. And so perhaps kind of having that extra little knowledge, we allow ourselves to sink in. So once again, you'll start to walk your fingertips up and towards your body. You can roll over onto your front hip and bring your back leg around and in front. And just extend out your legs, walk your hands back, lean back. So it might be nice to just tip your chin up to the sky, or you can keep your neck neutral. Sometimes pointing, flexing toes can feel nice. We're going to make our way back onto our belly. So it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you have your prop available over to the left side. So you just move it now. And then once again, come all the way down onto your front side. Optional to have that pillow underneath your cheek. And then this time your left knee is going to slide all the way out to the side. And you can always adjust. You're never stuck with the first shape that you land in. Think of this adjustment as necessary for any change that happens. It's almost like expecting your first day in something new to be perfect. It's going to take some adjustment each time you come into the pose. To just recognize where you're at that day and what your body needs. So there's another one of the lessons that this practice teaches us, is that those roadblocks sometimes aren't bad. So that tension and resistance you feel is sometimes just redirecting you elsewhere. It's asking you to just kind of shift a little bit, whether that's shifting your ego, your physical body, your intention or your mind, and just to reset with a little bit more grace. Remember that this is meant to be relaxing. You can always come back to your breath or just naming those 5 sensations and things that you notice when you're starting to get just sucked into your thoughts. Gently start to slide your left toes down to meet your right. And this time we're going to meet into fetal on our right hand side. So you can use your right arm and scoop up your right cheek, press into your left hand, and then just curl over. So you land in fetal position. So that left hip might be feeling a little bit of sensation, and we're just going to find a release for that. So gently start to bring yourself all the way onto your back. And once you're on your back, you can windshield wipe your knees side to side or hug your knees in close. You will want your props over to the left side of your body. So you can just take this time now to move them. Press into your feet and shift your hips over to the right. And then right knee this time will come into your chest and left leg extends long. So you're welcome to pause here as long as that feels good. Sometimes it's a nice release into the front of your left hip. And whenever you're ready, start to cross your knee over to the other side of your body for a twist. Now again, if this variation feels too deep or it just doesn't sit right in your body, you keep both shoulder blades rooted and just come back through center. Bend both knees over to the side. If this is feeling okay for you, You're welcome to just start to settle and nestle in. Maybe even allow yourself to just sit with whatever is showing up in this moment and letting go of needing to label it as right or wrong. So twists are associated with our stomach or sacral chakra. And this energetic area of the body is connected to your right to be. Very much so your personality. And that always kind of resonates with me whenever I'm nervous, getting butterflies in the belly or feeling sick sometimes before having to stand up in front of people or talk. And so this area of the body to kind of work into that wringing out is a wringing out of anything that blocks you from authenticity. So often those are some limiting beliefs of I am this, or I can't do that, I will never. And those statements that limit you in your identity. You can almost just imagine yourself wringing out any of those that are really landing with you today. And then as you come through center, just imagining them releasing. So you'll slowly unwind your physical body. You can shift your hips back into the center of your mat. Right knee will stay bent, so you're coming to recline tree. So just allowing your right knee to sway out to the side. Hands can be over your body, like on the first time, or overhead. Just focus on the release, both physically, maybe even envisioning some of those limiting beliefs just starting to drift off. And gently bring your hand to the other edge of your knee and hug your knees into your chest. And gently rock side to side. And come into one more shape, and it's not going to be a long hold, but this can just feel nice to rinse out any lingering tension, is to move to happy baby. So if you want to modify this, hands can come onto your shins and just let your heels drop towards your hamstrings. If you want the fuller version, hands will come to feet. Okay. You can always rock side to side or just stretch out your toes. Lengthen your legs or bend your knees really deep. So whatever feels right for your body. And then on no perfect timing, you're gonna move towards Shavasana. So take any final movements that your body needs or any poses before you start to make your way down. We have an extra long Shavasana tonight. So we can really take the time to just slow down and what it is to just be in this rhythm. And a lot of what we've talked about and we've even meditated a bit on has to do with blocks, where you might feel blocked, what's taking away your energy from the things you really need to direct it at. And so I often find those things that accompany us on the mat, the stress or the tension, the grief, the anger, some of those that show up, they're blocking us from authenticity. And often when we're on our mat, we attribute that block to something external. So somebody else or a situation, could be the world right now you're just mad at or sad about. So we usually put that outside of ourselves. And so in Shavasana meditation, I encourage you to just consider, how am I blocking myself? And in doing so, you're empowering yourself that no matter what's happening outside of you, that there's a level of you taking the responsibility of how are you viewing something. So if I'm just angry with the world, am I making that conscious effort to actually see the world through a different lens? To focus on the gratitude or the joy, or am I just focusing on everything wrong? And so it can just be a really beautiful practice to recognize the things we see as blockages are often upheld by ourselves. So let go of the judgment, but just consider, where are you empowered to make these changes so that you can flow more smoothly through the week? You know you're tired now. How can you learn to say no to something that's going to be more draining? If you know that you're overwhelmed, how can you get a little bit more organized to just feel a bit more at ease? Okay, so I'm going to leave you here for just a few minutes to ponder that and maybe how that sits for you today. And if not, you're welcome to just rest. And I'll bring you out in a few minutes so we can close off together. Take a deep breath in through your nose and fill all the way up. Exhale out through your mouth and just let that go. Take another big deep breath in through your nose. And then exhale out through your mouth, gently release. And start to just wiggle it into fingertips and toes. Maybe even start to circle your wrists or ankles. It can feel nice to gently rock your head side to side. And then if you're ready, you can start to take a big stretch overhead too. That can always feel nice after yin. Just lengthen up through your body. And roll over to your favorite side. And then you can just come up to a seated place on your mat, hands at heart center. So all of those things that you sat with tonight, you send each of these blocks a little bit of gratitude. You always think of wherever you're experiencing rejection or resistance, it's just asking you to redirect. Not necessarily take a different end goal, but just consider what is the path that you're taking and how could you maybe make this smoother. So much love and so much gratitude from the bottom of my heart. Namaste. Awesome. If you want a journal prompt, you can just go grab your journal and stuff. But if you're gonna head out, that's totally fine. Thank you for joining, and I'll hopefully see you all soon. Okay, so there are going to be 2 journal prompts, and you kind of thought about them in class. So the first one is just like, what's blocking you? And that can be external or it can be internal. Like the way I think about this situation is blocking me. My own frustration or anger or, my own doubt in myself. Self-doubt's a huge one for me. So whatever's blocking you. And then once you kind of feel like you've journaled enough about that, start to look at like, how am I a part of this? And then what can I do? So like writing 1 or 2 really quick things so that you go into your week and when you notice you've hit that block, you kind of have that, you've already thought about like, how do I deal with this? Okay.
Love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining. I'm glad I had someone tonight.
Yeah, that was like, I can't believe how fast it went. I must have been in the zone.
We started about 8 minutes late just because we were chatting, but
yeah, no, it was great. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for coming. It was nice to actually chat with you too. I feel like sometimes there's so many people I don't actually get to connect with.
Yeah, no, I agree. This was awesome. Thanks, Lauren.
You're so welcome. And if you ever like have feedback or you want anything different, just let me know.
Amazing. Awesome. Sounds good. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.